this. And do not forget that in your test, I will provide you the formula. So this formula is provided to you. So it looks exactly like this. So this is what you will get in your test too.
Okay.
While you do look up for your words, so I'm going to do number 13 or 14. This is where you use the power reducing formulas. So while you look for your Anika, while you look for your I'm going to do number 14 because that is the difficult one, and I will show you how to do number 13 later bit, just in how you start. But so for 14, if you want to use the power reducing formula in terms of the first power of cosine, so when you have this tangent square of 2x times with cosine of power 4 of 2x. So what we do in this case is, yep, Anika, you just, the first thing is we can reduce this before we use the power reducing formula, because tangent, if you, from this 2.1 is sine over cosine. So it's sine 2x cosine squared 2x. And then the cosine 4x is still the same, 2x. So what we can do here is we can cancel because this is this is power 2, this is power 4. So this will become square. So this is actually sine squared 2x cosine squared 2x. And now we will use the power reducing formula. So using the power reducing, the sine square u is 1 minus cosine 2u over 2. So this is actually 1 minus cosine 2u, oh, not x, 2u over 2. And then for this is exactly, if you use a formula, is exactly the same. Instead of minus, this is a plus. So this is 1 plus cosine of 2u over 2. Now, the reason why I'm using u here is because your u in this case is 2x. Your u in this case is 2x. So what do I do here is I will replace this u with 2x. So this will give me 4x because 2 times 2x is 4x, and this will give me 4x. So what do I do next here is I just multiply this straight across because it's multiplying fractions. So this is 4. This one I need to 4 it out. So it will be 1 times 1, and then 1 plus cosine 4x is positive cosine 4x, and then negative cosine 4x times 1 is negative cosine 4x. So you find out that the two of these will cancel because one is positive, one is negative. And then you got a negative cosine of square 4x. Now, since this question wants it into power 1, so this can be using your power reducing again because it's a power 2. So what we have in this case is 1 minus over 4. So if you look at your power reducing for cosine square, so this, which is this one, is going to be 1 plus cosine of 2u over 2. So this, if you use power reducing, is 1 plus because cosine is plus. And again, I'm using u here, but your u in this case, last time is 2x, but this time your u in this case is 4x. So I will do 4x here, and 2 times 4x will become 8x. So this is your answer, but I want to make it more nicer because I want to reduce it because this is not, it's not simplified. So what do I do in this case is I will make this one to become 2 over 2. So what happened is my denominator is all 2. And then this negative, I have to distribute inside. So I will get 2 minus 1 minus cosine of 8x. And then I will divide this by 4 because the 4 is down here. So instead of dividing by 4, it's the same thing as multiply by 1/4. So this will give me 8 because 2 times 4 is 8. Anything multiplied by 1, you get 1. So this one you just need to subtract. You will get 1 minus cosine of 8x. So make sure that when you do the 8x, make sure you put a parenthesis around because if you don't put parenthesis around, your online homework will mark you wrong. So this is your answer for question number 14. 1 minus cosine 8x over 8. The question that you get in number 13, if you look at number 13, I'm just give you a little head start on this one. It's giving you 5 cosine of 4x. So in this case, your 5 is 5, but you change your cosine 4x to cosine 2x and cosine of 2x. And then you can use the power reducing formula for this and this. Your 5 is still there. So your 5 is still there. So now you use the power reducing. Again, it's cosine. Cosine is 1 plus cosine of 2u over 2. And then this is also the same thing, 1 plus cosine of 2u over 2. And in this case, my u in this case is x. So that means that this u is represented by x. So you just need to watch out what happens to your power. So if you have 2x, then you become 4x. If you have 4x, it will become 8x. But if you just have x by itself, it's just double 2x. What you need to do here is you multiply. This is 5 over 4 because the 5 is there and then 2 times 2 is 4. And what you need to do here is you just need to FOIL this fellow out like what we did over here. We FOIL it out. And you will write over here. And one of this, when you FOIL, you will have a square. So this fellow, you also have to use the power reducing another time, like what we just did over here. Okay, so this is how we do question number 13. So try to either you watch it or continue. This is not finished yet. You have to continue it down. So Anika, any questions you have for me to?
It's finished. So yeah.
You might need to speak out a little bit because it's hard to hear from you. Yep, what questions you have, Anika?
Okay, yeah. What about number 11?
We did this in Zoom last. Yeah, we did this in the Zoom last time. So what happens on number 11 is you're gonna use a double angle formula. This is a double angle formula, and this one you read backwards. So when you see the cosine 2x minus 1, so this is the one that we use. So what happens in this case is you will have to use, so we have cosine of 2u is equals to 2 cosine square of u minus 1. I use a middle one because it's this question is asking for this. So what we are doing here is we want to change this 2 and this 1 to become 1/2 and 1/4. So that means you have to multiplying this with a number. So what number when you multiply with 2, you will get 1/2. And what number do you multiply the 1, you get 1/4. Anika?
Mm.
1 times what is 1/4? This is the easiest way.
I can think of it, but then I can't at the same time.
What 1 times a number give you 1/4? 1 times what? 1 times x
Oh,
equals to
1/4.
yes, 1/4.
That was so dumb.
So you just, yep. So you just need to multiply this by 1/4. And as like equation, if you multiply this by 1/4, you also have to multiply this by 1/4, right? And when you multiply by 1/4, 1/4 times 2 of this, you will get half. And then, not plus, minus. And then 1 times 1/4, you get 1/4. So this is exactly the same as this side. So your answer in this case will be 1/4 cosine of 2x. Don't forget, I'm not using u, I'm using x. So your answer in this case is 1/4 cosine 2x.
Okay, that makes sense.
So what you do in question 10 and question 11 is you trying to multiply by a number so that this number will make him the same as this fellow. And
Okay.
it can be a fraction. So like this one, if you look at this one looks exactly like the 2 sine u cosine u. But now you have 3. So we need to change that 3 to become 2. So how do you change? This is sine 2x. So how do you change this 2 to become a 3? What number do we need to multiply here? So when you multiply, you will get 3 cosine x sine x. So this 2, I want to get rid of it, so I have to make it over 2, right? So these 2 will cancel. So what number should we put up here?
3.
Yep. So that means you are multiplying by what?
3/2.
3/2, yep. So your answer in this case will be 3/2 of sine 2x in this case. This is your answer. It's not difficult. You just need to figure out what number to multiply, so you will end up with a 3 in front.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep. Any questions you have beside number 11 and 10? I think we did, if you look at the video from last week, I think I did till number 12. That's why I did 13 and 14 here.
Okay.
So the 13 and 14 is where you use the power reducing formulas. So on 15 and the rest, 16, 17, you are using what we call as a half angle formula, which is this one. This is a half angle formula. So do you know how to do like pi over 8, for example?
For the half angle formula?
Yeah, you had to use half.
Probably not yet. I haven't gotten that far in the assignment, so.
So what you do here is, because if you use half angle formula, it's u over 2, right? And the formula says if it's u over 2 is plus minus square root of 1 minus cosine u over 2. So my question is, if you erase this, because u is a constant, because it's a variable, you can always erase. So can you tell me what number, when you divide by 2, you will get pi over 8? What number, when you divide by 2, you will get pi over 8? So in order for us to do this, it's very easy to figure out this question mark. You just multiply this by 2. So what is pi over 8 times 2?
It would be 16. No.
Pi times 2. Not divide by 2. So this will be pi over 4.
Oh, okay.
So not 16, because when you take 16 divided by, if you put pi over 8, pi over 16 divided by 2, this is pi over 32, not 8. So this is wrong. So what you do here is, because now your u in this case is pi over 4, so this is pi over 4. So what you do is you just, in order for you to figure out u in this case, you just multiply this by 2. So can you tell me what quadrant is pi over 8?
Be in the first.
Yep, first quadrant. For sine, is that positive or negative for quadrant 1?
Positive.
So this is how you figure out the plus minus, which one you pick, is you look back at this pi over 8 and figure out what quadrant it belongs to. And if it's quadrant 1 is positive, if it's quadrant 2 is still positive, if it's quadrant 3 and 4 is negative. And then 1 minus, can you tell me what is cosine pi over 4? You can look at your unit circle.
It's rad 2 over 2.
Rad root 2 over 2, yep, that is correct. And then what you do here is, again, this 1 I can change into whatever number I want. So I'm going to do 2 over 2, because this will be 2, because they are same denominator. And then 2 minus root 2. And then this one used to be divided by 2, but I don't want divide. I will change the divide by multiply by 1/2. So this is actually is 2 minus root 2 over 4, because 2 times 2 here is 4. And don't forget the square root. You need a square root. So this is your answer for sine pi over 8. Okay. Now, if I want to do cosine pi over 8, now this one is actually easy, because if you look at the double angle for the half angle formula, for cosine is the same thing, but instead of a minus, you change it to a plus. So what happens in your cosine is you just take this answer and change it to become plus. And then you figure out quadrant 1, cosine is positive or negative.
It's positive.
So this will be your answer for that case. So if you find the sine, if you want to find the cosine, you just take this sign and switch it around. If it's a minus, it becomes a plus. If it's a plus, it'll become a minus. But this plus minus is all depends on your quadrant. Okay. You're right there, Anika?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then for tangent pi over 8, you can divide these two, but I do not want you to divide. This is easy to divide. So you just do the tangent. Now there are 2 formulas for tangent. So I will recommend you to pick the first one. This is the easy one. So it's 1 minus cosine u over sine u. So this is 1 minus cosine u over sine u. Now, if you remember what is u in this case, you know what's u in this case? We just did it like early on.
Like the whole answer. Oh, wait.
This is the u, right?
Oh, yeah, the pi over 4.
So that means we pi over 4 here. Now we know cosine pi over 4 is root 2 over 2, right? You told me. And what is sine pi over 4?
It's still root 2 over 2, right?
Yep, still root 2 over 2, you're correct. Now you cannot cancel the root 2 and 2 like this. No, you cannot, because of a minus sign. So what you need to do here is you have to make them the same denominator like last time. So this 1, I will change to 2 over 2. So this is 2 minus root 2 over 2. And then the denominator is root 2 over 2. Now, since both the denominator has 2, you can cancel out. You can do this if they are the same, the both denominator. So your answer in this case is 2 minus root 2 over root 2. Now, some students ask me, David, do I need to rationalize this because you get the square root down there? I will tell you, no, you do not need to rationalize this because in this case, I'm not testing you how to rationalize the denominator. I'm testing you how to use this formula. So this is the answer for tangent pi over 8. This question is also the same as 16. This one, 5 pi over 12. So if I give you 5 pi over 12, can you tell me what is the u in this case? Remember last time when we find u, we take this and what we do, we multiply it by 2, right? So can you tell me what is 5 pi over 12? The u is?
It would be, would the denominator be 6?
Yep. And the numerator?
Would be 3.
No, again, you just multiply this by 2. So this will become 6. What you still have on top? You still have 5 pi over 6. So this is your u in this case. So what you need to do is you just need to change all this to become 5 pi over 6. And then use your unit circle to figure out what is cosine of 5 pi over 6 and sine 5 pi over 6. And then the next thing you need to figure out is what quadrant. Can you tell me 5 pi over 12 belongs to what quadrant?
The first one?
It's the first one. So same thing. So first one, sine, cosine, and tangent, they are all what?
Positive.
They are positive. So that's the reason why you need to watch out for the quadrant, because if this is in quadrant 2, then your sine is positive, your cosine will be negative, and your tangent will be negative. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you just need to watch out what quadrant. So the unit circle, as I mentioned, you're not allowed to use in the test, but make sure you know all this special stuff. Okay. So this is how we do 15 and 16. How do we use half angle formula? Next thing we're going to figure out is question 17. This is the one that a lot of students get wrong in the test. So it's given us that tangent u is negative 9 over 40. And 3 pi over 2 is less than u is less than 2 pi. So the question is asking us, the first question is asking us is, where is u over 2 lie? What quadrant it belongs to? Do you know how to figure this one out, Anika?
Wait, what are we trying to find?
The quadrant. So it's given us tangent u is negative 9 over 40, and u is between 3 pi and 2 pi. The question A is asking for what quadrant is u over 2 lies? This one. Is that 1, 2, 3?
I'm not sure on this one.
So since this is u, and we want u over 2, so what do I do here is I just divide this by 2. And if I divide this by 2, then everything here has to be divided by 2. Oh my God. So so what you have in this case is u over 2 here. This will become pi. And this will become 3 pi over 4. So what quadrant is this belongs to? 3 pi over 4 and pi.
The second?
Yep. Quadrant 2. So your answer should be quadrant 2. So this is, usually they give you u. They will ask you for u, or where is u over 2 is. And you say it's quadrant 2. And watch out for this quadrant 2 because sine is the one that is positive, right? Cosine, tangent, everything is negative. So now question B is asking for how do you find sine u over 2? So then we will use the formula. So sine u over 2 is plus minus. Oops. So sine u over 2 is, that's my, there you go. Sine u over 2 is plus minus square root of 1 minus cosine u over 2. Now, since you say this is in quadrant 2, quadrant 2 for sine is positive or negative?
Sine would be positive.
So you can erase this below off. So this will be a positive in this case. Now, so this, but the thing is we need to figure out what is cosine u. So how do you figure out cosine u is you have to use this first condition that is given to us in the question. Can you tell me what quadrant is u belongs to? It's between 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi. So what quadrant is that?
Would still be in the second. Wait.
Second is here. This is 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi.
Oh, wait, never mind then. The fourth?
The fourth quadrant, yep. So that means that this u, if you want to use a negative 9 over 40, it's going to be looks like this triangle because it's in quadrant 4. And tangent is what over what?
Sine over cosine.
In SOHCAHTOA, because once we look at triangles, we use SOHCAHTOA.
Adjacent over opposite over adjacent.
Opposite over adjacent. So your opposite is 9. Your adjacent is 40. But which one is this is negative? So this is like coordinates. This one is positive because it is in the positive side. This one is going down, so this is negative.
Okay.
And what is your hypotenuse in this case? So if you know your triplets, 9, 40, and if you doesn't know your triplets, you have to use a Pythagorean theorem to find your C, the hypotenuse.
Yeah, I don't know that triplet.
So it's actually 41. Okay. So if you do the if you use a Pythagorean, you figure out 41. But if you know your triplets, it's quicker. So now what you do here is with this triangle that we have, can you tell me what is cosine u is? SOHCAHTOA. Cosine u is
Over 41.
40 or adjacent over hypotenuse, right?
Yeah.
And can you tell me what is sine u is by looking at here?
Negative 9 over 41.
Yep, that's right. The reason why we need this is because we're gonna substitute back inside here. So now we know this is gonna be square root of 1 minus cosine u. Cosine u is this one, 40 over 41. Now, do you have a calculator with you, Anika?
Yeah.
You can use your calculator to do this by using ABC. So if you type 1 minus 40 ABC 41, that's how you do the fraction. Press the equal sign, and then you divide this by 2 because you have a division of 2. So what you get when you do this?
1 over 82.
I'm sorry?
1 over 82.
1 over 82?
Yeah.
Let me check.
If I divided it all by 2.
You did the by 2, right?
Yeah.
Let me check. 1 minus 40 ABC 41, and then divide by 2. Yep, you're correct. So you can, so Anika, so if you see something like this, you just use your calculator. Okay, so this is how you find the sine, right? This is how you find the sine u over 2. Do you still remember how you find the cosine? Remember what I teach you with the formula? The cosine one is you just need to change this to become what?
You just change it to positive, right?
Yes, you're correct. But however, because of quadrant 2, what happens to the, which one should we take? The plus or the minus?
Minus.
Yep. And since we know cosine u over 2 by looking at the triangle, cosine u over 2 is what?
Oh, yeah.
Cosine u is 40 over 41, right?
Yeah.
And now again, take out your calculator. And instead of using 1 minus, this time you use 1 plus. And don't forget, you need a negative in there. Negative square root. Whatever answer you get in your calculator, you just put it over here. You got what it is?
Got 81 over 82.
81 over 82. Okay. So this is your answer. So this is your answer for the first one. And this is your answer for the second one. And then the third one, in order to you do tangent u over 2, again, you got quite a few formulas here, but I'm going to use the first one, 1 minus cosine u over sine u. Again, cosine u, by looking at this, is 40 over 41. Divided by sine u is negative 9 over 41. This is the sine u that we have. So what you do is, again, you want to try this using your calculator, Anika.
Okay.
So you do 1 minus 40 ABC 41, put an equal sign, and then divide by negative 9 ABC 41, because the over is ABC.
Okay. And I got negative 1 over 9.
1/9.
Yeah.
So is that easy with the calc? So that's why when you see this kind of fractions, take out your calculator and punch it.
Yeah, that's so much easier.
Oh yeah, yeah. So you don't need to worry about finding the common denominator and then multiply and flip flop all those things, because if you do it, your calculator will do all the thing for you. So,
Take forever.
so this is how we do this kind of questions for 17, which is a lot. Main problem here is how do you start this question is I started from calculating what is the quadrant for U2. And we know quadrant 2's tangent is also what? Negative or positive for tangent in quadrant 2?
For quadrant 2, the tangent would be negative.
So before, let's say if this question comes up in your test, it's very easy for you to check. It's because sine is positive, cosine and tangent is what?
Negative.
It's under negative. So that's why you can figure, so you're in the right track. So where you start first is figure out what is the quadrant for u over 2, in this case, quadrant 2, and then use this to draw your SOHCAHTOA. And this is, figure out this is also in quadrant 4. So you have to figure out 2 quadrants here. One is for the u quadrant and one is for u over 2 quadrant. And then the quadrant 4, in the u one, you just need to use SOHCAHTOA to do this. And then for the quadrant 2, you just figure out your sine for the sine u over 2 in this case. Anika, you got what I'm trying to do here?
I think so.
Okay. So next thing is doing, again, half angle formulas. So if you look at this formula, it's half angle. Again, I think you know that you can go backwards, right? So this is the half angle formula. So can you tell me which one is using him? Is that sine, cosine, or tan? It's going to go backwards.
Hold on. We're finding which one they use.
Yep, which one are we using here? Is that sine, cosine, or tangent for this question?
Would it be sine?
Why is sine? Why not cosine? And not tangent, right? Because tangent doesn't have a square root. So we know it's not tangent because it doesn't have a square root in it. So why you pick sine? What tells it?
Because like it's 1 minus cosine u.
Very good. So so the difference between sine and cosine is the sign is minus or plus. So inside the square root. So if you have the not this minus sign does not contribute. This is the one that contributes. So if this minus sign is sine, if this is a plus, then it is a cosine. Okay, so this is actually is sine u over 2. So can you tell me what is u in this case? If you compare this and this, what is your u here?
Would it be the x minus 3?
Yes. So what you do here is you just replace this with x minus 3 and put a parenthesis around, and this is your answer. It's easy actually.
Yeah.
Yep. So what first look at the sign. If this is a minus or plus, if this is minus, you use sine. If it's a plus, it's cosine. This is your u, and then you just substitute back in there. That's it. Okay. This is easy. 19, you have to use the product to sum. So product to sum means they give you a product. Product means multiply, and you have to write this in addition. So can you tell, this is the one, this is all in product, so they all multiply. And this one is sum. So they want you to do this one. So can you tell me which one of this is your, that you need to use? Is that the first one, second one, third one, or fourth one?
Okay, it would be
So is that sine, cos, sine, cos, or cosine in this case?
it's cos. So it would be
So
2.
the 2. So you will use a second formula, which is 1/2 cosine u minus v plus cosine u plus v. Now, what is your u and what is your v here? Don't forget, the first one is your what?
The first one is the u.
And this one is
the v.
V. So you just need to replace your u to become 2 theta and your v become 4 theta. And this one you minus it, and this one you add it. So can you tell me what happens when you subtract these two, what you get?
You'd get 20.
No, it's 2 theta minus 4 theta.
Oh, it looks like 20.
Not 20, it's 2 theta, is theta.
Would it just be 2 theta then?
Negative 2 theta. How about this one, 2 theta plus 4 theta?
6 theta.
6 theta. Now, if you remember, if you have a cosine of negative 2 theta, what happens to the negative? Does it go up front or is it disappear?
Does it go? I think it goes front.
So for the what we call even and odd, so if it's for cosine, it disappeared. Okay, but for sine and tangent, the negative will move up front. So what's going on with this? This is gone. And don't forget, we have 4 here. Remember, we have a 4 in front here. So what you do is you have to multiply all these things by what? By 4. Because this 4 will be the one that. And what is 4 times half?
4 times a half would be
Yeah,
2.
4 times half is 2, right? Now you don't distribute 4 inside here. Don't. You get it wrong. Okay, do not do that. So you only multiply the numbers in front. So 4 times half is 2. And the rest you just put it down. So this is cosine of 2 theta plus cosine of 6 theta. And that's it. This is your answer. So this is how we use the product to sum here. Same thing with number 20. So question 20 is the same thing. In this case, you just need to figure out what formula. It's the same product to sum, which is this fellow. And this is sine and cos. So sine and cos, you're going to use the third formula, where u in this case is x plus y, and v in this case is x minus y. You okay there, Monica?
Yep.
So so make sure you read the question carefully. Now, because this question gives us all in product, multiply, and your answer is in sum. But if you look at 21 and 22, is 23 and 24, they all do the different. Now it's sum to product. So if you look at this question, the difference between these two questions is this is multiply and this is addition subtraction. So if you have addition and subtraction, then you have to use the last formula. This is the sum to product formula. Okay, so what you do here is, so like example for question number 21, you will see the 7 sine 3 theta plus 7 sine theta. So the first thing we do here is, because if you look carefully here on the formula, your sine all have 1 in front. They all have 1 in front. So this one have a 7 in front. So what you do is you factor it out. Then you will get sine 3 theta plus sine theta. So Anika, can you tell me which one should we pick? Is that the first one, the second one, the third one, or the fourth one?
The first one.
The first one. And your u in this case is what?
It would be 3 theta.
And your v in this case?
Theta.
Theta. So this 7 is just a duplicate. So keep on writing 7. So this one, by looking at number 1, is 2 sine u plus v over 2 and cosine u minus v over 2. So what is u plus v in this case?
3 theta plus theta over 2.
Yep, which is what? 3 theta plus theta is 4 theta over 2 is what?
So just be what, 4 theta over 2.
Which is 2 theta.
Yeah.
And can you tell me what is u minus v over 2 in this case?
It would be 2 theta over 2.
Which is, yep, so theta.
Okay.
And then what you do with this 7 and 2?
Then you multiply it.
So you get what?
14.
Sine 2 theta cosine theta. And that's your answer for 21. You okay there?
Yep. Yep, I'm good.
Same thing happens to number 22, but this one is minus. So you have to do the second formula. And the good thing about 22 is they all have 1, so you do not need to factor 7 out. This one is cos. It's a plus, so you're going to do number 3 because that is cos plus cos. So this is your u, this is your v. This one, you have the 4. So like here, since they have 7, I factor the 7 out. So here, in this case, you have to factor what out? The 4 out, like what we just did here. And this one, and then you got cos plus cos, which is the third formula. This one also have 5 in front, so you factor the 5 out, and then you got sine minus sine, which is number 2. So mostly when you do the sum to product one, main part is that these two numbers is always the same, like 5, 5, 4, 4, 7, 7. So they won't give you one is 7 and one is 4. No, they won't give you that. They always give you those two numbers have to be same. The reason why is because you have to factor it out. So if you give 7 and 4 or whatever, two different numbers, that means you cannot use this formula anymore. Okay, you cannot use the product, sum to product anymore. You okay there, Anika?
Yep.
Okay. The next one we're gonna talk, the proving one, I think you can go and watch it. The next one we talk about is the word problem. So this is the word problem that a lot of students have questions with. So that will be number 29. Okay. This is in physics. So we do a projectile fire at the angle. So what is a projectile fire? Is actually if you fire something else, your things will travel in a projectile motion, look something like this. So it never travels straight. I can tell you that even though you fire a gun, you think it should travel not straight, but it's a little bit curved like what we have here. It's given us by R equals to 1/32 V0 squared sine 2 theta, where R in this case is the horizontal distance. So this is what we call as a horizontal distance. Your V0 is your velocity. That means how fast is the bullet travel. And theta is the angle between them. So this question is given us that an athlete throw a javelin for 75 feet per second. So this is actually the V0 because that is your velocity. So this will be 75 feet per second. What is the angle that he has to throw so that it travels 125 feet? So this 125 feet, is that your theta or is that your horizontal distance?
Would that be the horizontal?
Yep, because theta is angle. This is feet, not 125. And don't forget your theta in this case is what you need to find. And it has a condition, and the condition say it has to be less than 45 degrees. So since they use 45 degrees, so the first thing you need to do in your calculator is change it to degree mode because it's in degree. So what we're gonna do is plug everything in here and try to solve for theta here. So 125 equals to 1/32 75 squared sine of 2 theta. So this is, I just plug. And then use your calculator to figure this one out. So what is 75 times 75 divided by 32? No rounding, you're giving me all your decimals. Don't use ABC here. Do not use ABC here. 75 times 75 divided by 32.
Okay, so I got 175.78125.
Sine 2 theta. And then what you do is, I want to get rid of this, so I divide it over here. So take your calculator out and do 125 divided by ANS. So if you have a button called ANS, ANS means your previous answer, use that because you didn't type all these numbers in there. So 125 divided by ANS, you will get what? And if you don't have ANS, you have to type all this number inside.
Okay, so I got 0.71111.
1, right?
Yeah.
And then now we need to get rid of the sign. So I move the sign over. So once I move the sign over, it become arc sine of it. So make sure your degree, make sure your mode is in degree. Okay, this is an important thing. So if your mode in radian, you get everything wrong. So so then you do arc sine of that. If you have ANS, you just say arc sine of ANS because that would be the 0.7111. So arc sine of ANS, that will give you what? .32 something in degrees. something like that. Do
Yeah.
not forget, is that what you get, Anika?
Yeah, 45.32.
Something 325, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And this is in quadrant 1, and sine is also positive in quadrant what?
2.
2. So can you figure out what is 45.325 in quadrant 2? So if this is 45 degrees, let's say, what is it in quadrant 2?
Would it be 135?
So it's up, yep, 135. You just subtract it, right? So it's 180, take away it. So in this case, in order for you to find this, you just take 180 minus A and S. So you take 180 minus A and S. So this is 134.67. So it's very close to 135. But don't forget, this is 2 theta. So what you do next is you will have to divide everything here by 2. So you will get theta. So let's take this number divided by 2 and this number divided by 2. So the first one divided by 2, the 134.67 divided by 2, you get 67.33. And then you take the 45.325 divided by 2. Sorry, 45.325. This will be 22.66. And if you remember the condition says that your theta has to be what? Less than 45 degrees. So which one do we pick as your answer?
The 22.
Yep. So this one is no good. So this is how we do question number 29. I don't know how many decimal places they want. They want this in 2 decimal places. So that's why your answer is 22.66 here. You okay there? Oh my God.
Yep.
And the last thing we will talk about is sorry about that. He kicked me out from my class. And the last question we go is I think the last question of this section. I don't want to do that to me. I think we are in here 22.66. Then this is back to the, so every time when you see trigonometric formula, so please refer to this. Okay, this is called the trigonometric formula. And make sure that, again, don't forget, this goes 2 ways. That means you can go one direction and you can go the other direction. So if you find out that it is the left direction is a bit less complicated, the right one is the one very complicated. You see it's all plus minus with the square root and all these things. So like this question number 30 is going to be looking from the right to the left. So you have 1 plus cosine 2u over 2. So it's this one. So your answer is cosine square u. Okay. So if you find out that it's very complicated side, that means you're looking from right to left. If this is not complicated, then you read left to right. You okay there?
Yep.
The finally that we're gonna do here is we can do 36 if you want to. This is not too bad. So this one is the same thing we did 37 early on. So if let's take a look at number 36. So 36 is giving us this triangle. 8, 15. Now you need to figure out this fellow. That is a triplet, 8, 15, and I think it's 17, I think. Let's square those. 8 squared plus 64, which is 8 squared. 225 is 15. Yep, 17, 8, 15, 7. Yep, that is this is another triplet. So if you know a triplet, it's really gonna help you. So the question is asking us to figure out what is cosine theta over 2. So first, can you tell me what quadrant is this triangle looks like?
Like the first one?
First one. So if a theta is on first one, theta over 2 is going to be the first one also. Because if you take 0, first is between 0 to 90 degrees, right? So if this is theta, if you divide this by 2, you still get 0 to 45 degrees. And this is still belongs to the first quadrant. Okay. So if your theta is first quadrant, theta over 2 is also first quadrant. Okay. Now we use a formula. Can you tell me what formula is this? Is this a double, power reducing, half, product to sum to product?
Is it the half angle?
Yep. So is this below? So yeah, it's plus minus square root of 1 plus cosine theta over 2. That's why I provide you this formula. So make sure you know how to apply it. Since you told me it's quadrant 1, so is this going to be plus or minus?
Plus.
And can you tell me what is cosine theta by looking at your triangle here?
Maybe like 15 over 17.
Yep. And then you know how to use your calculator to do this icky fraction here? Go do it. Remember this one that we did before? The ABC over 2, then equal and yep.
Yep. Okay, I think it's 16 over 17.
And that's your answer. This one. You okay?
Yep. Yeah.
It's not different. I mean, if you it's not too bad actually. Same thing here. So let's say I use back the same triangle. I'm not using this, I'm using, and you want to find sine 2 theta. So by looking, we're still using this triangle, not this one, the 36, because so can you look at your formula? Sine 2 theta is that double, power reducing, half, product to sum to product. Which one is the correct one?
Is it the double?
And is that sine, cosine, or tangent for this case?
Sine.
So it's the first one. So it's 2 sine u theta, cosine theta. So now you need to figure out by looking at this triangle, what is sine theta is, and what is cosine theta is. Well, cosine theta we know is 15 over 17. That you know. And what is sine theta?
8 over 17.
Now you can also use your calculator to do this. Again, ABC. So you just do 2 times 8 ABC 17 times 15 ABC 17.
Okay, so I got 240 over 289.
230 over.
It's 240 over 289. 89.
Sorry, 240 over 289.
Yeah.
And that will be your answer. So make sure you use your calculator to do all this fraction work, because it will work. So you do not need to worry about doing that by hand. Okay, but unfortunately, this is only for this triangle. But for 34, the triangle is different. See that at 1 and 3. We don't have a triplet for 1 and 3, so you actually have to use a Pythagorean theorem to figure this one out. You okay there, Anika?
Yep.
Yep. If we have triplets, I would recommend you to write down a few triplets, Anika, and those who's watching this this Zoom video here. The first one is 3, 4, 5. That is the most basic and most important one. And then the next one is 5, 12, 13. And then the next one is this one, 8, 15, and 17. And then 9, 40, 41, the one that we just did like a little bit early on there. So these are what we call as the triplets. So you do not need to using your Pythagorean to figure out what is your missing length. And do not forget that this is just a base, means that you can also, the 3, 4, 5 can be also written down as 6, 8, 10 if you multiply everything by 2. Or it can be written down as 9, 12, 15. So you multiply everything by 3. So that means this triplet is a base triplet. So you can actually double, triple, multiply by a number or divide by 2. Yes, will be 3/2, 2, and 5/2. This is also a triplet. So no matter what you do with the base, if you multiply or divide with the same number, it is still gonna be a triplet in this case. You all right there, Anika?
Yep.
Yep. So make sure you know this 4 basic triplet because it's gonna be your lifesaver. Otherwise, you're going to spend 2 minutes using your Pythagorean theorem to figure out the missing part.
So.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Any more questions you have for me before we end the Zoom session here?
I don't think so.
Yep. So please, this 37, this is the last question, 37. This 37 is very similar to the one that we did early on. I think it's like this one, number 17. Okay, where we divide by 2 and stuff like that. So make sure you rewatch this. Hopefully this will help you guys. Hopefully you guys will do well in my. So this section is actually the hardest sections of all. So make sure you guys concentrate on this part. And then the next section is mostly calculator. So when we have Zoom tomorrow, make sure you have your calculator ready. And make sure you change your mode to degree. So in chapter 8, mostly everything we do is back to degree, maybe a little bit of radian, but make sure you change your mode degree to radian. Okay. All right, Anika, you good to go? Any questions you have? Okay.
And the test is the 13th, right?
Yes, it's on the 13th. So the next test 2 will be consist of 7, 4, 7, 5, which is these 2 last section. 7, 5 is the last one for chapter 7, and then 8, 1 till 8, 5, and that's it.
Okay.
So your test, your test is not a lot of material, because the material that we cover is really difficult. Like this 7, 5 is very tough material. So 7, 4, 7, 5, and then the whole entire chapter 8, 8, 1 till 8, 5. The unit circle is not provided to you, so you have to draw your own. That means none of it provide. The only thing I provide to you is that formula. The formula that we just used in 7.5. That is only the one that I'll provide to you.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay. All right.
Thank
Well, I'll
you.
see you guys in class tomorrow. Yep. I'm gonna stop recording.